And we are live. You can catch us on Rumble and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll be right back with you, Howlers. How's over Baz? I'm Jacob Casas.
I'm Rico Savage.
I'm Eddie Millis.
And today we have a very special guest that I've been wanting to get on. We got the Monsoon in the den, Lorenz, Larkin. How you doing, man?
Feeling good, man. I'm glad to be here.
I'm happy you're here, man. Happy, but for people that don't know, our audience that don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do to our audience right here?
I guess I fight for a living. I've been doing it for a little bit, so been around the block, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what's going on right now. What are you working on right now? Who are you fighting for right now? Different things like that.
Well, currently, I was fighting for Bellator, which was purchased by PFL, and right now, I don't know. I'm kind of out of a job.
Yeah.
So I'm in contract negotiations because the last fight that I fought not too long ago, that was my last fight on my contract.
Okay.
So now I'm in this kind of negotiation period that fighters go through when they decide to go this route and talk things over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of just like football or other sports.
Make smarter decisions for your future.
You're a free agent right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, when I found out you were coming on the show, I know Lorenz for a while. Solid guy, great fighter, and just a great personality, very humble. And I'm thinking to myself when I saw him in the lobby, this guy deserves a fight. This guy can fight, you know what I mean? And having fought in UFC, right?
Yeah.
And Bellator, and how long have you been in the sport now?
I've been in the game
A while, right?
Yeah, Strike Force, UFC,
Yeah.
Bellator, PFL.
And I've seen him come up, and I think that's the hard part when you know, with Bellator selling now, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's not a lot of options, right?
Yeah.
For fighting right now.
Not that many.
Yeah.
So what got you in this sport?
What got me in this? Well, I started out boxing.
Okay.
I started out as amateur boxing, and then from there, the weight I was at was like heavyweight, right? So I was just too short for to be a heavyweight. So then I start progressing into like kickboxing, dabbling in kickboxing, and then jiu-jitsu, and then just kind of tumbled that way. And then the biggest factor in my career was I decided to move to Kentucky for a year because at the time California didn't have commissioned amateur league, which they have now. They have Camo, right, for all the amateur fighters coming up. But when I was doing it, they didn't have nothing like that. They just had smokers. Eddie knows about smokers.
Yeah.
So it was a good way to get, experience, but there was nothing that could show on it, like, okay, he's fighting this, and this is his record. You can look up records and stuff like that. Smoker is just like, after it's done, that's it. Like, there's no.
Yeah.
So the only place at the time that had athletic commission that did amateur was Kentucky, and a couple other further spots, but I was just like, no. So anyway, long story short, I uprooted and moved to Kentucky for a year. Well, in my head, I was just like, a year, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to knock out 10 fights, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to turn pro. And that was like my goal. And that was like my make it or break it, because I was dabbling in it, but I didn't know if I was going to be good or not, so I was just like, I'm just going to do it for a year. If I suck, then we got to move on. We got to do some other shit. So I went out there, I knocked out 10 fights in less than a year, and literally moved back in a full year. It's funny too, because once when I moved out there, 2 months later, Las Vegas start having amateur.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the casino.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
You didn't have to go nowhere.
Yeah, it's probably better I didn't go to Vegas anyway. So, yeah, so I moved back, turned pro, and then, I went 10-0 as amateur out there, and then moved back, turned pro, and then that was the rest.
Which ain't easy, right? Because I would say out there you had a lot more wrestlers to deal with. Is that correct?
You know what?
Or was it a mix?
It was a mix, but this is what I will say out there as far as the time I was out there. And I'm a Cali boy, so I don't. Nobody can say shit about if I'm talking shit or not. Out there, they don't give a shit. They'll tell them, hey, you're gonna fight this guy. Okay. That's all it is. Out here, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people are like, well, what's his background? Like say I'm like, hey, you're gonna fight this guy. You have 2 fights. You're 2-0. You're gonna fight this other guy who's 2-0. And usually fighters tend to be like, well, what's his background? How long has he been training?
Yeah.
But you're 2-0 and he's 2-0.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
What do you need? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What else you need to know?
But there's all these. What do you do in his amateur? Or who's so. But out there, they didn't give a shit. They're just like.
What did you say? That's because boxing, they kind of get brought up in boxing, right?
Yeah, well, no.
But
for sure.
MMA is tough to get brought up.
Yeah.
It's really it's tough to go out on and get some. I use the term loosely, but easy fights for your first 3 or 4 fights. You get in that ring and you get used to it. That happens in boxing, but it doesn't happen in MMA.
Yeah.
And so it didn't happen out there. They just told you, I'm going to fight this. You're going to fight this guy, and you said,
whoever that I was supposed to fight pretty much showed up. That was it. I didn't have too many fallouts or stuff like that. Like those guys are they're just willing to fight. I guess that's what I'm just trying to say. They didn't give a shit. They just fought.
Yeah.
Were you nervous on your first MMA coming from boxing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And how do you? I asked a lot of fighters because I'm fascinated with this. What do you do? What's the trick for you to overcome your nerves?
Okay, so that's a good question. So, with me, I hate when I hate when I hear fighters say I don't get nervous before a fight. You're a fucking liar.
You're a human.
Yeah.
You're a liar, you know what I mean? The only difference is I've been in this situation a lot of times. So, well, first off, let me just go back a little bit before that. There's only one feeling you get before you fight. No matter how hard you spar, what gym you go to, there's a certain feeling you get when you know you're for sure about to fight, right? I'm talking about right before you walk out. It's a feeling that you never feel until that time comes again, right? So your nerves start hitting you. But the only difference is the more you do it, the more you just tell your body nah, this is normal. I'm feeling this because we're about to fight right now. It's a normal thing. Relax, chill.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more ease it gets. You still feel it, but you're just telling your body nah, this is
I got this.
We've been training because now this is the feeling, and now we're about to go. So the difference is with not so experienced guys, they get that feeling, and they're just and they try to do things to ease it, but it's not.
Can't fight it. It's gonna happen.
You can't fight it. It's gonna keep coming throughout your career, but you yourself have dealt with it so many times. You're just oh no, this is.
Yeah, but have you ever because for me personally, when I fought at Playboy Mansion for Strikeforce, I described it as walking out to my own funeral. Have you ever felt that slow motion? You hear the song playing, and everything's kind of whoa.
It slows down.
Yeah, for me, it just all the nerves, but I'm just this is. I know I only feel this feeling at this time right now.
Right.
So it's just just relax, relax. But it's so much shit you got to deal with, right? Because either your fault, the people who support you are out there. Then when you're on the bigger shows, you're on TV, and then you got all your uncles and shit that you don't talk to. That's gonna
now it popped up.
Send you dumbass messages after the fight. You know what I mean? You should have kept your left up.
Yeah. God, man.
Oh yeah. So it's just all all that is all wrapped up in one because it's not like you're just at the gym and you got all these eyes on you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be on somebody's highlight reel because that shit gets shown every time they fight. There's so much shit, that there's a lot of stuff that is in the back of your head but
can't do nothing about it.
Nah, that's and that's when, more experience you get, you're just like, nah, this isn't just, it's weird, but it's normal.
So at this point in your career, it's like it is what it is. Once you step into the ring, it's like all those variables go out the window.
Yeah. Now I'm just, but like I said, I still get the nerves. It's just like,
you can control it more.
We're about to go. Let's go.
When you transferred from boxing to MMA, because I remember that, I did the same thing, right? I was like, what the F is this? Because you think you're like a badass, and then you go into MMA. That's when I went to Eddie's gym, actually. Yeah. And I was like, you ain't, and that's when I found out you ain't shit. From boxing to MMA. But how was your transition? Like, what do you remember about that transition?
I remember getting leg kicked.
That's what I remember.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He leg kicked me before, too.
Yeah, so it's like, well, boxers, they're so bladed. You know what I mean? And it's okay because, you're not worried about none of that stuff.
Yeah.
But as you get out of that, you can't be so bladed,
And people don't know about leg kicks. They have no idea.
Real leg kicks.
Real leg kicks.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference. I still, even when I was traveling around and training with other people, they leg kicked me, and I was thinking, like, are you holding back? That's a leg kick.
Yeah,
that ain't a leg kick. You know what I mean? Oh, that's great that you said leg kicks.
Tell us about a fight. I mean, you've had a lot of fights, but tell us about a fight that you remember right now that you went through that was just like changed your life, like where it was just like, whoa, that was a fight, man. I know sparring's like we go through sparring like that, but a fight that you did, where we're just like, man, this was the one.
I would say one was an amateur. That was actually my last fight, and I fought this dude, and I was fighting a heavyweight and amateur.
Okay.
So this guy was kicking me, but he was kicking me the right way, and well, first off, it was for a belt, so I fought him, but we were told it was gonna be 3 rounds. So I'm fighting. I get him down the third round, and I'm just, my coach at the time just yelling, "Keep going, empty the tank." I'm emptying the tank, which just means, I'm giving everything out. The bell rings. I get up. I'm like, cool. I'm tired as hell.
It was third round.
That was the end of the third round.
Yeah.
I'm like, fight's done. They're like, the guy comes in, and I'm like, hold on, because they're like, no, like, go sit down. I'm like, what are you talking about? Go sit down. So anyway, it's a 5-round fight. 3 minutes, by the time 3 minutes was
This is a lot.
Yeah.
It was a long time, and he just kept kicking me. Long story short, I won the fight, but I just remember after I was done. Like, my legs were done that night, and I remember vividly. I woke up the next morning to go use the bathroom, and I just got up out of bed, and I took my first step and fell. Like, my legs were done, like shot. And it's crazy what real leg kicks can do. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you tell people, like, body shots, you can recover from a body shot. Legs, that's how you see people ice them in the corner and shit like that. There's not, like, to me,
I'm glad, as your friend, right, and somebody I know in the business, that's a great thing that you went through, because had you never felt what real leg kicks were about, if you never feel what they're about, you can't deliver them.
No, yeah.
You got to make that mind-body connection, and that's probably why you kick so hard now.
Yeah, and just,
right?
And
it's such a good tool.
It is. It definitely is.
Because he leg kicked. I never been leg kicked before until he kicked me. Is there a difference between like outside leg kick and an inside leg kick?
Oh yeah, I mean the outside leg kick, inside leg kick a lot of time. I mean they hurt as much, but I think the outside leg kick
hurts more, or is more effective.
Yeah, especially when you land like right here above.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. If you can't stand, you can't fight. You know what I mean? Like that's.
So. Guys, I when I saw Lorenz outside, we were talking about Japan, and he said some great things like he can't wait to go back to Japan. Why don't you tell the listeners like what's so great about fighting in Japan and what you love about it?
Man, so I've been to Japan 2 times.
Sorry, can you scoot this way a little bit
more?
Oh, yeah. Because it just was covering your face. I didn't want to. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3 times, but however, that was like my to me, made it moment. You
Yeah.
know, because like I fought before then at Madison Square Garden, and you know, for a lot of people, I appreciated it because I watched boxing growing up.
Right.
That's a big
So
platform.
yeah, it's a big platform, but I was more drawn to MMA. So my thing was like watching Pride, you know what I mean, and seeing them at the Saitama Arena, and those were like the big crazy fights, you know, as far as MMA, and so that was like my Madison Square Garden. So when I got the call to fight there, I was just like, okay,
Right.
but going there, first off, the people are just polite. I've never found an asshole out there. Like, they were just polite.
Right.
You can ask them whatever. They're willing to help. It's the cleanest place you're ever going to go.
That's what I heard. Everybody's clean.
You can't find trash on the street.
Yeah.
There.
You know, like, I was in any of them, like
The subways.
Shibuya,
Yeah.
Bisu, like,
Yeah.
all those areas, they're so, like, their culture just is just nice, you know what I mean, and it's clean, and everything about it. It's super functional, like
Right.
I can't describe it any
Yeah.
better. Just like, it is simple and functional. Everything that happens around there is functionality.
Like bees.
The what?
Bees. Like bees. I mean,
bees.
yeah, like they're
Like
just
the hive, the way they.
you know, they will get up and go at
Structure.
5 a.m. and work all day. Get on this packed subway, right? And then they get off at night, and usually they all get together with the workers and everything and go drink, and then get up and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and be successful at it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What was your? What do you think of the food when you were in Japan?
So I'm not like I'm pretty simple when it comes to food. So I don't eat like sushi or nothing like that.
Okay.
So I'm like the dumb American because I was going like
McDonald's?
I ate at like Tony Roma's out there.
Yeah, no, I know the Tony Romas.
Yeah. So I ate there and McDonald's. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Like I don't like McDonald's out here. I won't touch it.
No?
Out of the country, I will eat McDonald's all day.
But it's different. They have their
Japan,
menu is way different.
phenomenal
They
in
have
Japan.
extra. They have extra
Yes,
stuff.
it is.
way
extra
different.
stuff.
You
Yeah.
feel full. It's not all that. We're so like
The GMOs and all
lax
that. Yeah.
with our FDA out here, you know.
Right.
But out there, you taste it and you're like, damn, this shit. And then even some of the candy out there, that's our candy, like Kit Kats and all that type of shit. It'll taste a little weirder to you because you're like, man, this ain't. But it's probably how it's supposed to taste. You know what
It's a
I mean?
healthier version,
yeah.
right? Like,
We just have all this shit in our food.
But I
you
heard it
know?
was
Yeah.
like nobody big out there. Like everybody's like actually like a decent size. Like there's
Yeah.
no like overweight people out there.
But it's like it's not weird to see. You just go to a park and you see a bunch of people just working out, either doing some type of activity.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the norm.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you go to a park, you'll see a bunch of old people like just all working out.
How are the fans to you?
That is like something going out there. You got to go out there being humble because you'll come back feeling like
A superstar.
Yeah. They're just so respectable. Like
Yeah.
usually, you know, you get done with a fight or something like that. It's a crowd around you, and they're wanting to take pictures and autographs and all that type of stuff. But this is exactly how it is. If you turn around and you'll see one person and they'll ask you, you know, please, you know, can I get a picture or autograph, whatever. Then you look, and it's just they're quiet, and there's just a line of them, and they'll just wait. They're not say nothing. They just once that person, they'll thank you.
Yeah.
Bow, and then
Move to the next one.
It always will be a line.
Respect.
Nobody is
Yeah.
gonna hover and crowd you like it's.
you know what trips me out is like when you watch like the old Pride videos, you watch like the videos when the fans out here and they're like, yeah, they're going crazy, right? And the fans out there, there'll be like dead silence, and someone does like a dope move.
Yep.
They're like, whoa, like whoa, you know what I mean? It's just different kind of fans, you know.
Yeah.
It just seems different out there. I loved it.
So you're in between contracts right now.
Yeah.
And so what's your training like right now? Are you still got that hunger?
Oh yeah, for
Good.
sure. You know, I think with me, like I always say, I watch. Well, like I'm into the fight game, but I'm not fully in it. You know what I mean? Like I'll watch some fights, but then it's just like I'm not I never tried to just really indulge myself in it to where that's my life.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I just felt like I would get burnt out. Like,
Yeah.
so I always try to like disassociate myself from it, do my things that I like outside of fighting, and then get back into
That's
it.
a good way to look at it. Do you think you're still in it because of that? Because you.
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, it's been like I've been a professional for about 13 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How do you think that MMA has affected you mentally? Because I notice a lot of people that MMA fighters, when they do start a business or start doing other things, they attack it like a whole different way. Do you think that's like has anything to do with the way you do other things?
No, I think it just gave me the ability. That was like, you know, the catalyst to get me to be able to do other things, right?
Oh, really?
With you know, financially.
Uh-huh.
But with fighting, it's like I think I even look at fighting sometimes different than other people because I look at fighting like, and it's funny because like sometimes we get in an argument, like me and my girl will get in an argument because like she wants me to give her mids and shit like that, or she wants me to like really be like she loves MMA and she loves to train and things like that, but she is from the other part of the like how they see MMA.
Yeah,
they just see it for the training and I guess what I'm trying to get at too is when I fight, my mental aspect is I'm trying to physically hurt this guy in the worst way possible. You know, in the fight.
You do. You're a beast.
Yeah, but
I felt it when I know I've seen him fight.
When you say it calm like that, I feel
Yeah.
like you got to be worried. You know, what I'm saying?
That's almost like you getting mad at a motherfucker and then he's smiling at you while they're mad. Like,
so it's like that's how I've always viewed fighting. Like,
Sorry, go ahead.
So
She wants to come on in.
So it's you might as well just come in, baby.
We have another guest right here.
So I've always looked at it like in the most, you know, like I'm trying to hurt the guy as much as possible.
Yeah.
There is no like martial artist type of thing to me when it's time to fight. You
It's
know?
gladiator stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I can hurt you to where you don't fight again, that is on my mind. Now
Damn.
after the fight, I am totally like, hey, you good? You know, like, hey,
Switch.
like I hope everything goes good. I hope you get back home safe. But in the fight,
gotta
I
destroy
don't have
him.
a care in the world as far as if you fight again or not. You know, and that's how I've always looked at fighting. So I don't look at it like, oh, it's just fun and you know, and oh, you know, we get to do this and
Yeah.
It's always just like it's we're
wartime.
training until I get in there and I'm trying to.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I mean, well, especially with that sport. I mean, because like in athletic sports, is you go hard until the whistle blows.
Yeah.
For you guys, it's like if you're not thinking like that, the next guy's gonna think like that, and then it's gonna be you the one that's getting hurt. I mean, so I think that in that sport you have to do that. You know what I mean?
I got a question. If you could fight anyone right now, is there somebody you've seen out there that might be a champ, not a champ, whatever, coming up that you would like to fight? Is there somebody out there that you think like, hey, I'd like to, you know, in a perfect world, if I was with this league or whatever, I'd like to fight?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I've never even really thought. I've
Yeah.
always just been like,
What they put in front of you?
yeah, like that's why I always said like I'm the company man's like perfect fighter, right?
Right.
'Cause anytime I've ever got a contract, it's just been like, all right, cool. Like, what's the date? Let's go. Like, I'm not pulling out of my fights.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like the other guy who either gets hurt and I got to get a late replacement. But to me, it's like if there should be no reason why you're turning down fights, especially at this point of stage. You know,
Right.
Up at the top.
Why?
There's
Yeah.
no point of turning down fights. The whole reason why it gets me so excited about the fight is because I'm like, we're gonna see who's best.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole like. gist of it for me is like, you both go in, you train as hard as you can for a camp, and then you go and you got to put it on for 15 to 25 minutes. So why do I want to pick and choose like an easy fight? You know what I mean? Because if you fight easy fights and you know you're picking your fights, when you get that hard fight, now you're worried. You know what I mean? That's why, like,
iron sharpen iron, like how you you got to
so
fight the
like,
baddest to be the baddest.
I don't turn down nothing. It's like, who's gonna fight me that I haven't seen before? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like they always, in the interviews they're like, is there something that he's gonna bring to the table? I'm like, I have fought everybody that there's nothing that he's gonna show me that I haven't seen before.
Damn, yeah.
What's been a fight that you've been like, damn, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this one. And what did you do
So like my first big name was Robbie Lawler.
Oh damn.
In that fight, I was just like, I was young, and I was just like, they gave me him, and then at the time they had Strike Force, and I was just fighting, and they had it was Strike Force, but it was the smaller league. They called it Strike Force Challengers.
That's right, yeah.
Which were the guys trying to come up to the big show.
Like the B-league, the underleague, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, when I got the call for him, I was just like, dude, I watched him in the UFC, on TV, everything. So that was like my big breakout fight. So I was worried, because I know he's a knockout guy. And, even seeing him throughout, fight week, all that type of stuff you got to fighters deal with, It's like on the smaller shows, you only see your guy at weigh-ins. Yeah. Other than that, you don't see him again. In the big shows, you show up on Tuesday, and then you see him all throughout the week. You see the guy you're fighting all throughout the weekend. So, but yeah, that was the big. That was like my oh shit, man, I don't know how this is gonna be, and it's on TV. Everybody watching. But ended up being a great fight. For me, I was able to perform really good. So. And rest is history.
Yeah. So listen, whoever promoters out there, let's get this guy a fight already.
Right?
So beyond fighting, who are you as a person? Like, tell us a little bit about who you are. Like, what other hobbies you like to do? What do you do?
Oh, man, well, I'm into just all, I go off-roading. I got off-road toys, off-road trucks. I got a boat, we go shooting. All just types of stuff to keep me, keep me busy. You know what I mean? And
you're obviously a father.
Oh yeah, so I got 2 kids.
She's making little faces on the screen. Right?
She trains
herself. That's what.
Yeah, so she trains.
How cool is that?
I think as far as me as a person, it's hard to speak on yourself, but I think what I could say is I'm not different. You know what I mean? However you see me before, stop, baby. However you see me before is like how you're always gonna see me. There's no I'm one way. You see me this, and then all of a sudden next time you're like, whoa, why is he acting like?
And speaking of that, how was it dealing with that? Since you because a lot of people when they get that fame, they move from where they grew up at. And you being around it still, and being around the same people, and the same people can connect with you still. How was it staying humble? You know what I mean, and having the friends around that you know what I mean. Now they're only around, and you know why some of them are around.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think I've always just kept a close circle.
Yeah. I
never really, I know my acquaintances and I know my day ones, and just being from Riverside, Riverside is a big city, but it's really
small.
Yeah. You know what I mean, and I would say people from Riverside tend to really bond. Even if you don't know each other, when you do find out oh you're from Riverside,
your so-and-so's friend, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right on.
It's always a problem for people from Riverside with when other people come in. You know what I mean? Somebody else will come into the bar or something, and it's just whoa.
It's almost like high school. Riverside is like a high school. That's how I explain it. It's a popular group. You got the club scene, then you have the mischiefs, but everybody either went to high school together or knew each other, and they're still out there. That's how it is over in Riverside.
So it's real close knit. I don't. It's weird because you don't really see even in that scene, you don't really see people from Riverside beefing like that. It's always an outsider
Yeah.
coming in, and then something pops off.
What kind of father are you? You're a disciplinary father?
Guaranteed.
Oh, really?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
The corner shit, the 1, 2, 3.
Nah, man. Nah. My son, he's 18, but the same way, But again, I feel like when you are whooping ass, you don't have to do it all the time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It don't take too many ass whoopings to get you in line. So even with him, he's a great kid. He's in college now. He's a great stand-up kid. Works, goes to school, but he was getting his ass whooping when he was younger.
Yeah.
And then, for, I don't know, probably like 12 was like the last time he got his ass whooped. And then that was it. But I just think I'm a stern dad. But if you do what you're supposed to do, like, I'll spoil the shit out of you. You know what I mean?
Would you want if he chose to fight, you know what I mean, and follow after footsteps? How would you feel about that, or even your daughter?
It's hard, man, because it's just like I look at it from such a different aspect, and I feel like a lot of the kids that are getting into it now, they get into it because of the lights,
the hype,
and the glamour behind it. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like Eddie would tell you, like, back in the day, it was really hard to get into the UFC. Like, you had to, you had to be, 9-0, 10-0 from the smaller leagues, making a big name for yourself, and then get that call up. Now, like, I tell the amateur guys, and even the smaller pro guys, I'm like, as long as you keep fighting, man, you'll get your call up.
Yeah.
You just got to take advantage of it when you do get your call.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't know. It's just, there's a big turnover rate in MMA. Like, I feel like.
You're right. And it was different. If you look back, I mean, guys we were going to Mexico, remember? Fighting in the cockfighting arena for $50.
Yeah.
And then you cross the border there and hit that McDonald's, right? But there was, for me, the thing that I say, Lorenz, all the time is that there was just that love to fight. It wasn't about the money.
Yeah.
And you're right about nowadays. There's so much people that want to get into it for the glam and the hype and say, "Look at me, I'm a pro fighter."
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then that, I mean, it sounds like a lot of 10 fights before you even make it. That sounds like a lot of work. 10 fights.
But see, this is the thing too, is back before, guys were more active. Guys were just fighting. They weren't picking and choosing their fights. You know what I mean? So they were able to be more active and just fight.
Yeah.
Now, there's some amateurs out there that only probably fight like 3 times a year.
That's
3
crazy.
times, maybe 4 times a year. I'm like,
Well, I want you to answer this because but you're right. There's not enough leagues, right? I mean, there was a lot of shows before back in the day. You could fight almost every weekend if you wanted to. And some of these so-called leagues got broken up. They had like Safari Bar in San Bernardino, and the cops raided it halfway through the MMA show. But there was you got Neutral Grounds, you had Cage Combat, King of the Cage,
Explode.
Yeah.
So do you think fighters are I don't want to use the word weaker now, or are they built different now than they were when you were fighting?
They're built different.
Yeah, okay.
They're built different. Come over here. I think sometimes you do. Okay. All right, go get it. I think now you do see that a little percentage of fighters that really have that old school mentality. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. It's a lot of them I see. Even watching the fights now, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them are flashy, strong.
Yeah.
But once when that fight gets
gritty,
they're no dog.
Yeah, there's not
quick
that
to tap.
dog.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what Shamrock did so well. Was able to you got to be just through the tryouts. If you weren't a dog, and that's why Anthony Johnson, he was the only one who passed the tryouts up north. I mean, and he smoked everybody. And, and
the tryouts are good. They do weed out.
Yeah.
Weed out a lot of the weaker fighters, for sure.
So where do you see yourself?
Weaker fighters, for sure.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself
in 10 years.
I see myself. I'd say I would see myself. Not in fighting, right?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I want to coach, right?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I want to coach or nothing like that. I'm more. I enjoy the business aspect of things.
Okay.
I enjoy the business aspect of things.
Okay.
So I think that's.
So what do you want to do? You want to get into some type of business?
I think that's.
So what do you want to do? You want to get into some type of business, own your own business. What are you looking to do?
Yeah, so like I have a couple.
What are you looking to do?
Yeah, so like I have a couple properties, and as far as that and probably, as far as that and probably close. I don't want to say too soon, but it's gonna be pretty soon. Be in the bar. Some things more business aspect.
You're gonna stay locally, yeah. Riverside.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna come support you when you open that bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Support you a lot.
Yeah, now you said something right now that I want you to touch on a little bit. You said you wouldn't consider coaching, and I think can you elaborate on that? Maybe why?
It's just I don't know. I don't see myself as being like a really nice coach. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. Like don't get me wrong. Like the guys at my gym or just the people at my gym, that are like on the pro team or part of pro practice.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of easy to give them advice and things like that. I guess I would say this for like me being from a straight beginner to know nothing to teach somebody, that'll be very hard for me.
It's very hard.
I don't think I don't have the patience to really mold somebody from the ground up. You know what I mean? I'd rather take somebody that has basics and then I maybe can go from there.
Yeah. It's a lot of babysitting. That's what I've noticed. I've been teaching now for so many years, and I'm like, why do I have to tell you to run?
Yeah.
Why do I have to have you send me the app, the run?
And that's why there's so much stuff with coaching.
So the fighters are different now, huh?
So much stuff with coaching, and then he knows. You'd be like, oh, you're supposed to be on this weight. What's your weight? And then you'd be like, oh, you're supposed to be on this weight. What's your weight? And then you got grown people lying to you about their weight, what they ate, and they don't know people lying to you about their weight, what they ate, and they don't know how they gained 4 pounds.
Trying to collect your money.
Like why you gained it. Stop lying to me.
You know what I mean? It's like it's obvious, and it's funny because in the gym, weight is like we could tell people's weight just by looking.
Yeah.
So it's obvious. It's all based around weight. So. It's just funny when you hear some of the stories, like I don't know how I'm not on weight. What'd you do last night?
Yeah.
You were this yesterday, now you're this weight today. What'd you do? I don't know. Yeah, you do.
money.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm done. I don't.
It's a weird sport, man, because it's like, you go on, especially if you don't know anything about the sport, right? And this is what I really see, like with parents.